What's going on? Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of Off the Schneid. We are going to be drafting tonight. Hopefully, we get 2 drafts in tonight. I'd like to get that done. But I want to talk about just 1 or 2 little things quick before we get into that. The whole theme, the whole thesis of tonight's show, which might not be super, might not be a ton of engagement. I know I'm going head to head with the Toxic Tower boys, so I'm sure there'll be a bunch of people watching that and not this program, but that's okay. Watch it back and leave a like when you come back. So I want to just talk about overreacting. It's getting a little wild in these streets already. I'm seeing a lot of people that are just, like I said, kind of just. I know the season isn't over yet, right? The season isn't over, but next year is completely different. Okay. Like, I don't look at 2 seasons like they're the same whatsoever. There's, take last year's stats and the profiles and things that happened and put it into put it into the blender and, don't ignore it, but it's not the be all end all. And we can't just say like this happened last year, therefore it's going to happen again, or this is going to happen, or it's going to get better. Things change. We saw 10 different head coaches. I think there's 18 different coordinators. So it's extremely different. Every single year is extremely different. One example I'll use, I was completely out on Ashton Genty this year. I'm very much in on Ashton Genty this year. Sorry, last year I was completely out. Geez, what did I say? Last year I was completely out on Ashton Genty. This year I'm in on him. Why? Almost everything has changed, right? 1 more year in the league. He's going to have a full, complete offseason to himself where he's not getting ready for the combine, doing interviews, rookie camp, mini camp, all this kind of stuff, right? Different head coach comes in, different play caller, different offense. Clint Kubiak system, give me running backs, right? The offensive line should have a chance to improve. They're probably going to trade Max Crosby and then hopefully use that money to bolster the offensive line. Everything has changed, right? So we can't just take everything that happened last year and apply it to this year. Yes, it's part of the conversation, but it's absolutely not the be all end all. We have to look at every single season as a completely separate echo chamber from everything else, right? That's the way I'm looking at it. So I wanted to start the night. We're only going to talk about one thing quickly, and then we're going to get into drafting, and then some more things will come up as we're drafting. So let's pull up. We're not going to do Underdog. That's not what I'm pulling up. Who I want to talk about is George Pickens. So he's obviously on the thumbnail. Everybody's darling, it seems right now, George Pickens. And I get it. He had a fantastic season last year, right? He's wide receiver. That's too far down. Wide receiver 9 right now. Wide receiver 9. That's crazy. That's crazy. I'll say it right now. That is wild that George Pickens is wide receiver 9. Okay. Why do I say that? Why do we like George Pickens? Why do we like George Pickens? He has all the talent in the world. We know that, right? It's not about the talent. Why do we like George Pickens? Because he's on the Cowboys. Because Dak Prescott is his quarterback. They have a pretty good offensive line. Schottenheimer's the play caller. CeeDee Lamb's over there as well to take some pressure off of George Pickens, right? I get it. Is George Pickens going to be on the Cowboys? That's the question that we should be asking. And my answer is I don't think so. Let's take a look. Let's dive into why. Okay. Cowboys, let's look at the free agents heading out from the Cowboys right now, right? Kenneth Murray, Donovan Wilson, Fowler, fine, gone. Robert Jones, fine, gone. Clowney's gone, right? So Kenneth Murray played 80% of snaps last year. Possible he comes back. They might want to look at bringing him back. Donovan Wilson played 83% of snaps last year. Very possible they might want to bring him back, right? Javonte Williams is a free agent. We all just say he'll probably be back with the Cowboys, which, sure, we can say that. That's fine. But he's going to cost money, correct? Right? Then we have George Pickens, obviously. That's who we're talking about, but there you go. Another little talked about, factor here, Brandon Aubrey. Brandon Aubrey, he's a restricted free agent. He is going to command a record kicker deal, 100%, right? And they're going to pay him, and they should because he's worth it. So again, that's going to what? Cost money. So we've got Brandon Aubrey, George Pickens, and then Javonte Williams, right? And then potentially Donovan Wilson and potentially Kenneth Murray, okay? Now let's look at the Cowboys depth chart. This is over on ourlads.com. Cowboys depth chart. So we got George Pickens, obviously, as a starter right now. CeeDee Lamb, Flournoy, Flournoy, however we want to say it. You see the offensive line. Javonte Williams, like I said, the starter. So we've got starter Javonte Williams, starter George Pickens. We've got a starter in Kenneth Murray and a starter in Donovan Wilson. What do they have behind Kenneth Murray? Well, they could probably let him walk. Logan Wilson. Logan Wilson comes in. Sure, absolutely. We can be okay with that. Jack Sanborn was also on that out list. So let's say they don't bring back Kenneth Murray. Okay, I'm fine with that. I can get down with that. Then Donovan Wilson. Who takes over for Donovan Wilson? Marquise Bell, whatever. Wanye Thomas, I doubt it, right? So Donovan Wilson might be a priority. Can they replace him cheaper in free agency? Maybe. Can they replace him cheaper in the draft? Maybe. But again, Donovan Wilson might be someone that they bring back. Javonte Williams, okay? We saw that. We might come back to this in a second, right? Let's look at the Dallas Cowboys salary cap situation. Let's look at that right now. First, let's say what's up to the chat. We got Frank in here. What's up, man? King of Kings. Appreciate you popping in. We got the Candy Man. What's up, fellas? How you doing? We got Losimo. How you doing, man? And Hulk Smash Potatoes. Appreciate you guys saying what's up. And hopefully we got some good stuff in this episode. So let's look at the Dallas Cowboys salary cap. Okay. They're in the hole currently, $29 million. And this is factoring in for the increase to 102 to 105, or sorry, 302 to 305 million roughly. Because currently they're at 333, right? So this is factoring in the increase of salary cap going into 2026. And they're still in the hole, $29 million. Okay. You might say, okay, what they'll do is they'll tag him, right? They'll tag George Pickens, franchise tag him, and then figure it out later kind of thing. Okay, sure. Let's go down that road. Let's pull it up. What's the franchise tag this year? Projected to be about 28.8, call it $29 million. I don't know. Is there what wide receiver might get paid to bump that up? I don't know. Let's call it 29 to make it even. $29 million for George Pickens franchise tag. Now, you're telling me that George Pickens is going to be happy to play on a franchise tag? Maybe he would be, but let's look at what he would command or want in a contract, right? Let's pull up the current, these are the current contracts for wide receivers in the NFL. I would assume that George Pickens is going to want at least a DK Metcalf deal, right? Fourth highest paid receiver in the league, DK Metcalf, average of $33 million, right? So that's obviously call it $4 million more than the franchise tag. Okay. So they're already in the hole. Like I said, $29 million. How can they afford another 29 for the franchise tag, let alone a contract? Sure, you can kick some down the road and manipulate the cap a little bit. Yeah. Let's get on board with that. But they still need to get under the cap. They can easily get rid of the total liabilities. Yeah, they can easily get rid of that. That's not a big deal. The top 51 is what we need to worry about. So $333 million puts them over the cap, the projected cap, by about $29 million. Okay. Now, what can they do to get below the cap and to be able to afford George Pickens? Let's take a look. So this is pre-June 1. Let's say they kick it down the road post June 1. They want to kick the money down the road, afford George Pickens. You know, they're in a Super Bowl window. We can argue that, but regardless, let's say they are. So they're going to kick it down the road, right? How can they accomplish that? Obviously can't with Dak. They could restructure that, but that would take Jerry Jones taking out a big fat pen and writing a big fat check. Just check. He's going to have to write a massive $50 million probably dollar check. Is Jerry Jones going to do that? I haven't seen him do it yet. And he's been able to do it for a long time. You can rework your quarterback's contract whenever the fuck you want, right? Patrick Mahomes has done it a few times. You can do it whenever you want, but what does it take? An owner that's willing to write a big fat 20, 30, 40, $50 million check. And is Jerry Jones going to do that? I don't know. So it's probably not Dak. CeeDee Lamb, not going to happen. Tyler Smith, not going to happen. Quinnen Williams, they could. You think they're going to cut Quinnen Williams? Not a fucking chance, right? So it's not Quinnen Williams. Kenny Clark. Maybe they can rework Kenny Clark's deal. Yeah, they could maybe do that. They could absolutely cut him for zero dead cap and save $21 million this year and $20 million next year. Are they going to do that for a guy they just traded for? They just traded Micah Parsons for? I highly doubt it. They could rework the deal. Yeah. And maybe that's part of the equation. Oso Odigizua, not going to happen. Terrence Steele, you might say, right? They could save $14 million this year by releasing Terrence Steele. He's got 2 more years on his contract after this. 2 more years. So they could, I suppose, right? But then what? Let's go back to the depth chart. Then what do they do at right tackle? We know that the Cowboys always want a strong offensive line. We know that about the Cowboys, right? Jerry Jones was an offensive lineman at Arkansas, believe it or not. So they always want a strong offensive line. They have no one on the roster currently who can take over. Can they do it in the draft? Maybe. That's a big risk. I'd rather just have the guy under contract. Now, you might say, he's not very good. Terrence Steele's not very good. His PFF is not very good. You can say that, and I wouldn't argue with you. What I would argue with you about is he played 1,163 snaps last year. He played literally the most snaps in the NFL out of any tackle in the NFL. Terrence Steele played the most snaps. You telling me they're just going to walk away from him, get rid of him? I highly doubt that. And with that much time remaining in his contract, he's not a renegotiate kind of an option realistically. So I don't think Terrence Steele is not that guy. Malik Hooker, I do think could be on the chopping block. You could absolutely do that. He's in the last year of his deal. You only kill $2 million, right? It's the last year, like I said. But with Donovan Wilson also a free agent, that muddies that up a little bit, right? Logan Wilson, they could save $6.5 million. Sure, zero dead cap. But what did we talk about earlier? Kenneth Murray, free agent. Who steps into that role? Logan Wilson. Can you rework the deal? Sure. Absolutely, you can save a little bit of money and rework Logan Wilson. So there's some other guys down here, not enough money to really talk about. But what I'm getting at is it's going to take a crazy amount of like, we're talking Mickey Loomis kind of flat cap manipulation to make this work. And that's even just to franchise tag George Pickens. Okay? Just to franchise tag him. And do we want a George Pickens playing under a franchise tag? Do we want that? Maybe. I mean, I'd rather George Pickens on the Cowboy than George Pickens on any other NFL team, realistically. But just from what we've seen the Cowboys do in recent years, cap-wise, they've been relatively responsible. Where they could be in a Super Bowl window, and when they had Micah Parsons, they could kick some money down the road. They could have redone Dak's contract. They could have freed up some money, done some stuff, signed some free agents, right? But they didn't. Do I expect them to do it now for George Pickens? I don't. I really don't. So I just don't think it's going to happen. I do not think that George Pickens is going to be on the Cowboys. Could I be wrong? You bet your fucking ass I could be wrong. Absolutely. Could they manipulate the cap and make it work? You bet your ass they can. Are they going to? I don't know. Let's go down the list. What's it going to take? Jerry Jones to write at least, $40 million check, cash money to Dak Prescott. Here you go. That. It'll take reworking Kenny Clark's contract. He's 30 years old also. Do we want to do that? Maybe. If we want George Pickens bad enough, sure. It'll take reworking Logan Wilson's contract, probably, right? And it'll take finding some money somewhere. Realistically, it's the Dak contract and reworking Kenny Clark. That's about all you can do, realistically. This Logan Wilson, sure, but that's not that much money. And then that probably sacrifices bringing back your, Donovan Wilson, Murray, maybe not even Javonte, and you still got to find the money for Brandon Aubrey, right? So it's not as cut and dry as we want to think it is, guys, is what I'm getting at. I really just do not think that George Pickens is going to be on the Cowboys. I have a hard time just finding the money. I have a really hard time finding the money. And I also know how the Cowboys have been running their team for the last few years. And I just would be shocked if Jerry Jones is willing to write that kind of a check, cash money out of my pocket into Dak Prescott's pocket, literally. Or CeeDee Lamb, maybe, right? We talk about this whole situation with wide receivers, paying 2 wide receivers. I'm a Bengals fan. Look behind me, right? What do we got here? Jamar Chase. Next highest, like two players on the same team. We got Tyreek and Waddle here, but Tyreek is cuttable and going to be cut this year 100%, right? But T. Higgins, that's it. So we've got T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. And is it working for my Bengals right now? I'll let you guys answer that. So Lions, yeah, but that's actually pretty responsible, to be honest with you. Average of 26 and an average of 30 for Amon-Ra and J-Mo. That's pretty responsible. It's not 40 and 29, call it, right? So that's fine. Is it working for the Bengals? I'll let you answer that. So the Cowboys would be right here, 3-4 most likely as far as a contract is concerned. So I don't know. That's what I wanted to get at. I hear a lot of love. And again, going back, let's get rid of these. Let's get into the drafting. But going back to the rankings, like we have George Pickens ranked as if he's on the Cowboys. We really need to think he might not be a Cowboy. And again, I hope I made a decent case for at least us to think about it. Let's think about if George Pickens is even on the Dallas Cowboys, because that's the only way he is worth this price tag, correct? Last year, what was he going before the trade to the Cowboys? Where was he going? 60-something, right? Call it wide receiver 32, 30, let's say, even. Right? Now he's going wide receiver 9. I get it. He had a career season. He had a fantastic season. Is he going to do that again if he's on the Cowboys? Maybe. I'm not even going to say, yeah, for sure, 100%. CeeDee Lamb's still there, right? But if he's on any other NFL team, some major question marks there. Let's go back to the chat here. We've got Gab for Life. That's something Moolah. I can't remember your underdog name. My apologies, bro, on that. But appreciate you coming in. What's up, man? We got Bayou Bangle in here. How you doing, man? Appreciate you. Go subscribe to him over there. We've got Sean So Gonzo. Cheers, bro. Appreciate you popping in as well. Let's get into what we came to do. Let's do a draft. Do we want to do a little board? Young Moolah, that's what it is. I knew it was Moolah something. Moolah, my bad. Or let's do a big board. It's on the oh man, we're full. Sorry guys. My apologies. My apologies for not being able to get you in. That's kind of annoying. There's gonna be some overflow. Get out of the overflow. I'll draft another one for sure now. That kind of sucks, but maybe I'll get some EV over here for once in my life. Definitely no one that I know. Bunch of badge lists. This should get interesting. That could be fun. Sorry guys. Usually there's room, but there was we were full. I was the last one in. My apologies. Huhaim's in the house. What's up, man? Appreciate you coming in, dog. Yeah, can't buy an earlier than 8 pick. You know, I'm 12. I'm 8 or lower. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 is what I'm drafting every single time. Can't get the influencer 101 to save my life over here. I'd love to get me some Bijan, maybe some Gibbs, Puka a little bit, that kind of stuff. It's just not happening these days, but that's all right. Crossface in the house. How you doing, man? Appreciate you. Appreciate you popping in. So a couple other guys I wanted to touch on with this whole overreaction thing, right? How we're overreacting to a lot of things. One guy that I'm not drafting at all right now, I might have one share, literally one draft right now, is Michael Wilson. Wide receiver 36. So right in that range for what we were just talking about with George Pickens, we have Michael Wilson here, right? 71st overall as far as ADP is concerned. Let's just pull up the Cardinals. So Trey McBride, Harrison going before him, which they should. Connor may or may not be on this team. Trey Benson. We still don't know who the quarterback is realistically. So Mike LaFleur comes in. He will still call plays and be the offensive mind in this, with this team. But they just hired Nathaniel Hackett. That's not bueno for anybody. But we're saying that they're going to basically be exactly what they were. And Marvin Harris is going to continue to kind of play second fiddle to Michael Wilson. That's just not something that I can get behind personally. I'm not drafting Michael Wilson here. I'm really not. Again, we're saying that he's 126 targets, 80 catches, 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns, whatever. That's what we're saying he's going to be. Better not time out and pick Michael Wilson over here. I'm going to go, actually, let's do James Cook. Let's do James Cook. Let's pull him up. Let's do James Cook. So yeah, that's what we're saying he is. Are we kind of forgetting that Michael Wilson was very injury prone throughout his whole college career? Are we just kind of letting that go? He, as a rookie, only played 13 games, missed a game last year. That's pretty reasonable, but he was injury prone. That's what dropped him as a rookie in the draft, that he was very injury prone at Stanford. We're just going to let that go because he had a good season. It's a little aggressive for me. So that's another guy I feel like we're overreacting to. The Badgers are doing strange things tonight. Watch out. Okay, I'll keep my eyes out. Keep my eyes out for these guys catching strays over here. Doc79, what's up, man? Appreciate you popping in here. We are going to go, it's either London, but let's just do Love. I love me some Love. I love Love. Love. I haven't drafted him enough lately, actually, either. I've kind of moved away from him a little bit. Let's go RB. I don't mind that. I don't mind Drake London here, but Malik is tough. Neighbors is tough to click right now, right here. I think he's got to fall a little bit. I'm taking Love. I'm taking Bowers. I'm taking London all over Neighbors personally. So take that for what it's worth. Wilson ADP is a joke. Absolute worst value to our database. Yeah, I have a really hard time clicking Michael Wilson over here. Really hard time clicking Michael Wilson. Who else do we got? Big one for sure. Justin Jefferson. Again, it's no two seasons are the same. Right? I was very, very, very out on Justin Jefferson and all of the Vikings, realistically, except for Jordan Mason. I was out on all the Vikings and Justin Jefferson as a top 6 even pick, though people were picking JJ second, third overall last year, right? I was out on him as a top 6 pick, even 7. I had him at about 8, and I took a lot of flack for that, right? Who ended up being right? Sorry, this guy. It was good. It was a good move, right? Made sense. But now where he's going, ADP of 16, I like it. I'm all over Justin Jefferson. I think he's a great value there. I'm going to be drafting him a lot. I'll be at least 10% kind of thing on Justin Jefferson at that price tag. No doubt about it. So again, we're overreacting. I'm going to make a pick here, and then I'm going to keep, put a bow on that conversation. And if Bucky's still there, I'll be taking Bucky Irving. That's for sure. Kenny Walker, maybe. But I might just go with a wide receiver here as well. Where am I picking again? Oh, yeah, 32. Yeah, Bucky goes. That's unfortunate. Kenny Walker's there. I haven't really clicked him much, so let's get some Kenny Walker. I'm trying to do something different as far as running backs are concerned these days, which we'll kind of get into, and I'm probably going to go down that road in this draft, considering I've taken 3 already. So with Justin Jefferson, again, yeah, we put it in the blender. Last year's stats, we put it in the blender. We think about it, we talk about it 100%, right? But we can't just stop talking and thinking about his previous seasons, right? 1,510, 100 catches, 15 and 10, 128, 18 and 8, 108, 16 and 10. We can't just forget about that, right? Yes, we don't like the quarterback situation. Again, I was very famously very off just JJ McCarthy. Very. So much so that after 1 week, someone, and I won't mention his name because he might be watching right now, someone tweeted at me saying, "Oh, you wish you did McCarthy." I don't remember what the tweet said, but I said, "Bruh, it's week 1. Let's just slow down here. 1 week." And again, that ended up being very correct, but things change. What changed as far as the Vikings are concerned? I'll make this pick and we'll put a bow on that. And it'll be, I guess, either JMO or Colson Loveland. Colson Loveland first. Let's do that. So what changed? Not a lot. Just another year of JJ McCarthy. No one wanted to admit that JJ McCarthy was a rookie last year. I get it. He wasn't drafted before the season started. He was not a rookie. It's a second season. I get it. He's a rookie. Okay. And I didn't like JJ McCarthy, coming into the league at all. I had him ranked very low. I did not think he was even close to NFL ready. You can go back and watch the tape if you want. It's all on the internet forever, right? So it does exist. It's there. That was my opinion of JJ McCarthy, very low. But I do like Kevin O'Connell a lot. I like Kevin O'Connell a lot. He's very smart. He knows what he's doing. He can scheme guys open. He can scheme offenses. He can make it work, right? And I think with another full offseason with Kevin O'Connell, I think he can get him ready and he can improve. I'm not saying that JJ McCarthy is going to be very good, or I think he's going to be better than he was last year. He's going to be able to run a little bit more. He's going to understand things more. Him and Justin Jefferson, can have a better, connection. They have another offseason to connect. Like I said, throw together, whatever. So was that what got, Adolfo Mensa fired? Probably. Yeah. And he deserved it. If I'm being honest with you, he deserved to lose his job. He managed that team poorly, and here we are. So the only concern, I'll say this, the only concern I have about JJ McCarthy not starting for the Vikings next year, and there's too many ifs in this conversation. There's too many that it's not going to happen realistically. The only concern that I would have would be is if there's someone in the draft, and I think he's going to get to draft this player regardless. So what's his name? Brzezinski or something like that. Someone that's with the franchise already is going to run the team through the draft, right? So I think Kevin O'Connell, much like what happened with the 49ers, Waddle is going to be a snap click for me right there. So that's unfortunate. We will do, I haven't drafted much Tate, so let's go Carnell Tate. Let's do that. Could go with the Odunze, Caleb, double stack with Loveland, but I don't want to be doing that. I really, really don't. I still might take Caleb though with Colston. I like that. We'll see what happens. So he's going to run the team and run the draft for the Vikings this year. So when the 49ers got Brock Purdy, okay, I think it was pretty clear, and I think most people would agree with this, how and why that happened. So I think we know now, I'm pretty sure most people would agree with this as well, that we know now that Kyle Shanahan wanted and they should have taken Mac Jones, right? I'm going to go Caleb. I don't actually love it. I'd rather be taking Daniels or Burrow. I don't care. I'll take a naked Joe Burrow here. I don't give a shit. People like to frown upon that too, which is kind of jokes. But anyways, where was I at? Yeah. So should have taken Mac Jones. Didn't. They They trade up and then they end up taking Trey Lance. Here we are, right? What does Kyle Shanahan get to do with the very last pick in the NFL draft? He gets to draft a quarterback that he likes, that he thinks he can, mold into probably just a backup, realistically, is probably what his original thinking was. But he gets to draft a guy that he likes. I think that that's how that went, right? So he takes Brock Purdy. I think that Kevin O'Connell is going to get afforded a similar kind of gesture. The unfortunate thing is it's an awful quarterback season, right? It's an awful quarterback draft year. But he might still be able to find that guy. But is he going to start over J.J. McCarthy? Probably not. Is there someone else besides Fernando Mendoza that I think could walk in and start before J.J. McCarthy? I actually don't. And I don't really like J.J. McCarthy. So it tells you how poor this draft class is. But he might get a chance to draft a guy like, let's say, who do we want to talk about first? There's two guys. One I'm forgetting. And the other is, I'm going to pull it up because I don't want to forget the other guy. But one of them is, I want to go with the other guy first. So Garrett Nussmeier could be that guy, but he might go too high for them to, for them to kind of do that. So Garrett Nussmeier, maybe a Luke Altmaier might be. But the guy I want to talk about is Mark Gronowski. That might be a guy that he gets to draft and mold, and you never know, with an injury to J.J. McCarthy, maybe something similar happens, and he gets a shot and kind of takes over from there. Maybe something like that. Definitely not fan in here. There's really no one I feel like I have to have in this range. So therefore, I'm going to take a quarterback, and it's Justin Herbert. I love me some Justin Herbert. Let's get that going. Let's do that. Let's do that. And I kind of like what I'm probably going to do here. I'm falling behind a wide receiver, but I'm going to be able to catch up, I think. And we'll kind of get there when we get there. So yeah, that's what I think. I think Kevin O'Connell is going to get afforded that luxury of being able to pick a guy that he likes. So I'm going to be paying attention to almost everything that Kevin O'Connell does in this off season, right? Was he at the Senior Bowl? Was he at the East West Shrine Bowl? Who is he visiting with, right? What pro days is he going to? All that kind of stuff. I'm going to pay attention to that kind of thing with Kevin O'Connell, because I think he's going to get to draft a quarterback. And I'm not saying I'm going to draft them in best ball, because I'm absolutely not. What I am going to do is draft them in like dynasty leagues and stuff like that. I just want to pay attention to who he's looking at quarterback wise and kind of take it from there and see how she goes. I don't love that I'm going to do this, but I am going to do it. And I'm going to pull up Rondé Gadsden, because I don't think he'll be there for me at 104. And I kind of like this idea of stacking my quarterbacks with their elite kind of tight ends, their pass catching tight ends. So let's do that. Caleb and Herbert with Loveland and Gadsden. I like that. Definitely falling behind at wide receiver, but I may just stop at 2 tight ends, and I may just stop at 2 quarterbacks, and I may be able to only go 5 running backs. I kind of like that. And I might just do that and just kill this with volume at wide receiver. That might be fun. That's a fun, different build that I'm probably going to do. These 2026 NFL prospects really stink. No, I agree. That's literally what I just said, man. Like literally, I don't think that guy exists. So I don't the only way it happens is, again, if he gets his guy and he's exceptionally smart, he could run the offense. And then week 6, J.J. McCarthy gets hurt and they pop in and wow, this guy's actually really good. He can run this offense efficiently. He pulls a Brock Purdy, and then it happens, right? We didn't think Brock Purdy was going to be a guy, did we? I didn't. I'll admit it. And if you say you did, I don't believe you unless there's proof somewhere. I don't believe you. So again, we don't know. Mark Gronowski's a winner. I think he's the all-time winningest quarterback in, yes, a lot of it was in FBS, right? but he threw for over 12,000 passing yards, had a rough year, went to Iowa. That was the worst place he could have went. Why would you go to Iowa? That doesn't even make sense. Yes, you want to get in the FCS. I get it, but like, man, someone else I'm sure was willing to take you and offer you sort of thing. I don't know how or why that happened, but it is what it is. And then he was injured a bunch, so there's all of that sort of thing. But Mark Gronowski might be that kind of guy. He was the MVP at the Shrine Bowl, right? Throwing blocks out there for his running back to score, that kind of stuff. If his dad was an NFL quarterback, I believe, right? Was he not? I could be wrong on that, but I believe he was. Yeah, that could be the type of guy. Luke Altmaier, maybe. Again, I don't mind him as far as just what's going on between the ears. But I don't know. So we'll see. Again, I'm just going to keep track of what Kevin O'Connell is doing and what quarterbacks he's talking to and who he's watching and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's Algier or Dowdle. Actually, I might just have to take Jordan Addison here, although I really don't love Addison. I'm going to go with Algier. This is a gritty ass team over here, man. Shout out Gritty. Shout out Mike Bolduc, hit him with the gritty. This is a gritty ass team right here. I kind of like it. I think I'm going to be able to go, what, 10 wide receivers? 11 wide receivers. So let's kill it with volume is kind of what I'm going to do. Could be fun. I mean, if Dowdle's still there, I might just take it and be done. Jeez. I like Wandale. I like Jennings. So it's one of these three. That's pretty much cut and dry. It's one of these three for sure. Wow. If Dowdle's there, I'm just going to take him. Fuck it. I'm just going to take him, and now I'm done. That's a strong running back room. 2 free agents that I like their opportunity to go somewhere to have a pretty prominent role. 3 free agents. I'm done everywhere except for wide receiver. I'm not even going to look at any values, nothing. This is a wild team. This is a wild team. I kind of like it, though. I kind of like it. We'll see how we land the plane as far as wide receiver is concerned, but we're throwing 10 clicks in a row. We're just going to be pissing yellow. That's interesting. It's different. It's different. So that's another guy. That was a long-winded Justin Jefferson talk and Vikings talk. Who else do we got that's kind of being overvalued a little bit? I think, again, we talked about it a little bit last episode, this whole Scadaboo, Harvey, Henderson range of running back really concerns me. I'm not, and again, Scadaboo just got Matt Nagy as his play caller. That is not good for anyone wearing a Giants jersey, let alone Cam Scadaboo. So that kind of hurts. We'll see if that shifts a little bit, because who moves up? No one moves up in this range. Swift, maybe. People are loving on Swift, but it's not out of the question that Swift isn't on the Bears next year. It's most likely. He's most likely going to be on the Bears. I'd be quite surprised if he wasn't, but it's not outside of the realm of possibility. So he could move up. I don't like Judkins at this price. Javonte, may or may not be a Cowboy like we kind of just went over, but probably is. And then that's fine. We got wide receivers. We got to click over here. Who do we want to click? There's no good value. That's good. That makes me feel good. I'm not taking anyone else. I could do another tight end maybe and go 10 wide receivers. We'll see when we get there. So Higgins, Debo, I don't love in this kind of build. It's either Higgins or Dobbs. Let's do Dobbs. He could go somewhere and be the wide receiver 1. Maybe. I like him on Buffalo. I like Romeo Dobbs if he goes to Buffalo for sure, but I'm not sure they're going to be able to pay him that money. So or any wide receiver that money. They have other holes they need to fill, and they're up against the cap as well. But it's Dobbs or Higgins, and maybe Higgins is the correct click there. It's just really close. And if Higgins is here at 137, I'll snap click him. Shaheed could be that guy, fall into my lineup with one play. Absolutely. Does he stay on Seattle? Probably. But he is a free agent. Downs. Definitely don't need to bring him up. I think it's Shaheed. And if he's not there, yikes. Maybe I just bring in Kenyon Sadiq. Okay, let's go Shaheed. Let's go Shaheed. That's kind of fun. Even if him and Kenny Walker are both back at Seattle, that's perfectly fine, obviously. Let's go Shaheed. Let's scroll back down. Definitely an interesting build. I'm not sure I can recommend, doing it, but it's different. It's definitely different. It's fun to get different, especially this time of year where we don't know certain things. Like obviously we don't know where Tate's going to be drafted. We don't know where Romeo Dobbs is going to be playing. We don't know where Rashid Shaheed's going to be playing. Right. So I don't have a wide receiver that is technically on a team right now. Through 12 rounds of a fantasy football draft, I don't have a wide receiver that is on a team technically. That's fun. I do want to let's talk about Kenyon Sadiq. Watched film on him last night. I like what I saw. I didn't think I was going to like him as much as I did. The dude is fucking jacked, man. He is bricked up. The dude is a fucking specimen. So I like that. That's fun. He can block. He can do everything you need. I really like him. I'm not going to give away what I ranked him as far as my tight end rankings. We'll have an episode soon where we'll go over rankings again, updated rankings. But I do have him ranked, and I really liked what I saw. I didn't expect to like him as much as I did. I'll say that. Spears is a guy I want to focus on getting a little bit more. He's going in a really nice range of running backs. I'm not clicking Tyreek on this team, and he goes good. I'm fine with that. I think Jalen McMillan's a great click here. I think that makes a lot of sense. Finally, a wide receiver that is on the team he's going to be playing for. That's fun. So let's do McMillan. Adonai Mitchell I like, but who's playing quarterback for the Jets, man? Who's playing quarterback for the Jets? Is it going to be Kyler? Is it going to be Kirk Cousins? Is it going to be Mac Jones? Is it going to be Ty Simpson? I have no idea. I really have no idea. Frank Reich just came in, right? It's a wild situation in New York. Is it going to be Malik Willis who just got drafted? Could be. Is it going to be Justin Fields who's still under contract with that team? I don't know. So I have a hard time. Like I was saying the other day, I like Garrett Wilson. I'm betting on the talent, but then I'm like, wait a minute, who the fuck is throwing him the ball, man? That is a scary proposition. A scary, scary proposition. I don't mind Franklin here. I don't mind Troy Franklin or Surratt, but he falls, and there's some concern there for me. Let's go Chimere DK. I think I'm gonna try to find some of this type of guy. Rashid Shaheed, Chimere DK, guys that can crack my lineup with one play. Because I'm gonna need guys that can crack my lineup with one play. I'm gonna need them a few times throughout this season with this build and this team. So I'm gonna go Chimere DK. Troy Franklin could be that guy as well. but it's just a little more murky over there as far as the wide receivers are concerned. Pat Bryant, obviously Sutton, Mims is still there, right? I think the ceiling is pretty capped as far as Franklin, and we don't realistically know what the ceiling can be for Chimere DK. So let's take a gamble on a big play guy like that. Yeah, he was always going to be denied, man. Like, why are we giving him an extra year? Just because he wants it? Sorry, man. You played fucking 6 seasons or whatever it was. Like, you don't just get infinity seasons because you transferred in late. Like, realistically, you're lucky you got a chance to play for Ole Miss. He was not the starter, And then injury happens. He comes in, he crushes it, he does well. Great. That's a wonderful story. Would it be nice if he could have another season to, develop and get to the point where he's an NFL quarterback? Yes. Does he deserve it? No, you don't, Chambliss. You're going to have to enter the draft. It is what it is. Get drafted late. You're absolutely not even close to NFL ready. So I don't think that's another possible quarterback for the Jets personally. I really, really, really think that would be an awful thing to happen to Jets fans if they haven't had enough bad things happen to them. If Trinidad Chambliss is their kind of starting quarterback, I think that would be a really terrible situation. But that's just one man's opinion over here. This is an interesting situation. I think I have to just go Trey Harris here. I think I have to buy in that Herbert has like an MVP type season, which I think is absolutely on the table. Not with this build, like it would, like Tesla, Tucker would make sense here as well. But I think Trey Harris is the most prudent pick with this build that I have going on here. So yeah, Chambliss, sorry, man. You got to enter the draft. You'll go in whatever round, maybe undrafted, developmental guy. You might never get an opportunity, is my opinion on Chambliss. If the Rams decide to cut Parkinson to save $7 million against the cap and don't re-sign Higbee, T. Ferg seems like a smash at 191. I like Terrence Ferguson. I like Terrence Ferguson. I'm going to just pull up Colby Parkinson's contract here quick. I might have to make a pick here. In the meantime, let's go here. Colby Parkinson. Could do that. They could. Yep, they could cut him. Do I think they do? We're going to pull up Coleman here. I'm going to gamble. I got to do a lot of gambling with this. When I'm drafting 10 or maybe 11 wide receivers and I'm building it the way I am, I have to take some gambles. And I'm going to gamble that, the best thing to happen to Keon Coleman is Joe Brady becoming the head coach, like Joe Brady said, right? So I got to gamble on that. Let's take a shot on Coleman. Yeah, I like T. Ferg regardless. But I mean, Parkinson just I don't know if he led this team. Definitely didn't lead the team, sorry. But he had 8 touchdowns. Like that. And he looked really good outside of one drop in the playoffs. They signed him to that big deal. He's on the last year of the deal, so they could definitely move on from him. They obviously drafted T. Ferg for a reason regardless. I mean, I think that he's like Ferguson's kind of a smash regardless, even if Colby Parkinson's still there, because Higbee's gone. He's not going to be back. So the amount of 2 tight end, even 3 tight end sets that they run with the Rams right now, they still have Davis Allen under contract as well. So he's part of that equation. But I think Terrence Ferguson's a fine click right now regardless, even if Parkinson's still on the team. So, they're going like side by side, are they not? At least they were. Did Ferguson already go? So Ferguson went before Parkinson. His ADP is before Parkinson too then, right? Yeah, so he's moving up. Parkinson's moving down. So, yeah, I think he's a fine click. I like Terrence Ferguson. I was I'm pretty sure the only person on Terrence Ferguson pre-draft last year. So take that for whatever it's worth, which is not a lot, but it's worth something, I guess. We're going to go Kyle Williams, my guy. I'm going to gamble that he takes a step forward, gets a bigger role in year 2. Let's get my guy Kyle Williams over there. So yeah, I think he's a fine click regardless. Is that a new ruling on Chambliss? That was always the ruling. I never saw anything that led me to believe he was going to get another year personally. So yeah, he's not going to get another year. There's no reason to give him. Rules are rules, man. You only get so much eligibility, man. Like, it's how she goes. Outside of Mendoza, wild quarterback classes, it's terrible. It's very bad outside of Mendoza. It's very bad. Very, very bad. You were definitely a T for a guy last season. Doc 79 was around last year. Doc 79 was around in the streets last year. So yeah, I know for a fact I was the only Terrence Ferguson guy. We're going with Jeremy Bernard, my guy, Jeremy Bernard. Well, a lot of people's guy. PPR Tyler and me, for sure, are the biggest Jeremy Bernard guys. No question. So I'm going with him. How many do we got? We got 9. We have 2 more picks. All right. I could still take another tight end. Do I feel like I caught up enough at wide receiver? Not particularly. Not particularly. I might have to take 2 more wide receivers here. Do I think Loveland and Gadsden can get me through? Yeah, I have to believe, especially with Loveland, with the price tag he's at now. We're doing 11 wide receivers on this build. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Definitely the T for guy. New collector, good evening. Send you a Discord message. Oh, I'll take a look later. I'm barely on Discord over here, so I definitely don't see it unless you tell me on Twitter or something. I don't see a Discord message. Oh, do I? I do. Sorry. 1 left for a bigger board. I'm not doing a bigger board. 1 left. I mean, we'll see. How do we do this? I don't know how to work friggin'. There we go. I don't know how to work Discord. I'm never on Discord. Let me know in this chat, new collector, where it's at after this draft is over. Maybe we'll do a bigger board, but I want to give actually we're not. I got to give the team, a chance to draft, because no one's in this one. I was the 12th person to enter this draft. No one in the chat is in this draft. I feel bad about it. I would do a bigger board on stream, no problem. We tried the other day, didn't work out, but I got to give the chat a chance to draft. I agree. I think Ferg is way too cheap. There you go. Yeah, I like him. I like him regardless. So yeah, new collector. If you're on Twitter, that's the way to probably get a hold of me. I'm surprised you even found me on Discord. I don't know how Discord works, if I'm being honest with you. I'm also like old as fuck and I just don't care enough about that kind of stuff. So we're going to go Jack Besh. I'm going to go Jack Besh just because I think there's outs for him to be in a build like this for sure. Again, I have to gamble. So I'm going to I think there's outs for him to be the number 1 wide receiver for sure on Vegas, right? Former 2nd round pick, different, coaching staff, but Kubiak coming in is a bonus, is a plus sort of thing. So I have to take some gambles, and I have been, obviously, and I'm going to continue to. So I like that click. I think I did the best I could, and I could tell a story with every pick that I made here. All of them make sense. Can I get 3 guys to crack my lineup week in, week out? Because realistically, I'm banking on my running backs to find my flex. So yeah, I have to find 3 wide receivers. Maybe even potentially my tight ends are going to fall in my flex once in a while, maybe once or twice, right? So I need 3 wide receivers to crack my lineup. Do I think I've done that week in, week out? Yeah, give myself a good shot for that to happen. So this is a fun team, actually. I kind of really like it. I low-key really like this build, actually. And then since I'm going with 11 fucking wide receivers, I'm going to take a guy that I like, and I don't care what anyone says. I'm going to take Chase Roberts. I really like him. He's like my guy. I think he's going to be more appreciated by NFL kind of teams and evaluators and GMs than the nerds like me, right? I like him, but I don't think a lot of other nerds are going to like him. So that's fair. And am I going to rank him in my like top 10? Probably not. But I do like him. And in a build like this where I'm taking 11 wide receivers, again, I'm going to take some gambles. And I like Chase Roberts. So there you go. You heard it here first. Chase Roberts. I like him. Who we play for? BYU. He's an older prospect, right? 24 years old. He's a grown-ass man. He spent 2 years in my hometown, not my hometown, but where I live right now. Spent 2 years on a Mormon mission here in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. So shout out to that. And, then went to BYU, had a solid year, had a solid career realistically. He was a team captain. And watch the tape, man. I liked him on tape. I can give you my notes if you want right now. I have them. I just don't have my spreadsheet pulled up, but I can give you my notes. I like him. I like Chase Roberts. He's a size speed guy. He's like a poor man's Alec Pierce, and that's a lazy ass comp because tall, fast white guys, it's a lazy comp, but he's very similar to Alec Pierce in a lot of ways. So, and I think teams actually appreciate the maturity. The concern is always like, oh, is that his ceiling? The dude's fucking 24 years old. Are you your best version of yourself at 24 years old? I sure as shit wasn't. So there you go. I mean, take that for what it's worth. I like Chase Roberts. No problem. Want to give you a chance to join. Appreciate that, man. Yeah, but I would go with like Twitter. I appreciate you reaching out. Absolutely reach out, but I would go with Twitter if you want me to actually see it, because I never am on Discord. I don't get notifications. I'll pretty much never see it. Let's go over the team, then let's jump into another draft. So wild build. I've never built a team like this early. Caleb Williams, Justin Herbert. I like stopping it too. I put the draft capital into it. They're both, Justin Herbert, again, I said it last week and I'll say it again now. Like, you're going to have to shoot this guy in the leg to get him off the field. He plays through pretty much everything. Unless his body is completely broken, he's on the field. So Justin Herbert's probably going to give me 17 games, if not close to it. Caleb Williams, sure, played every game last year. I'm not going to say he's as tough as Justin Herbert, but I like Caleb Williams a lot. James Cook, Jeremiah Love, Kenny Walker, Tyler Algier, and Rico Dowdle. I don't think you can get too much better as far as a 5 running back start, right? All unpicked under, pick 113, but Rico Dowdle, as far as ADP goes, before Algier. So there you go. I like that. I have 3 free agents and a rookie. So again, the only running back that's on his team is James Cook. That's kind of fun. I kind of like it. I think it works. I do. It's a wild build, but let's go with it. Carnell Tate, Romeo Dobbs, Rashid Shaheed, Jalen McMillan, Chimere Dike, Trey Harris, Keon Coleman, Kyle Williams, Jeremy Bernard, Jack Besh, and Chase Roberts in the wide receiver room. Again, I think I could tell a story here that 3 of these guys can crack my lineup week in and week out. I gotta take some gambles with the types of guys that I think can take a big leap this year. Again, forget last year, not forget about it, but put it in the blender and spit out what you think can happen. Let's project to 2026 season. So Keon Coleman, maybe Joe Brady being the head coach is a good thing for him, and he takes off a little bit. Trey Harris, no more Keon Coleman. I have the quarterback stacked with him, right? 2nd round pick. He takes a nice step forward. Chimere Dike, we do not know what his ceiling can be because he was very good last season. Potentially, he could be the number 1 wide receiver on the Titans. Jalen McMillan, two aging veterans who both got hurt last year and both could get hurt. Mike Evans isn't even on this team technically right now, so Jalen McMillan could be a starter for this team. Rashid Shaheed, just lightning in a bottle, can score on any play. Romeo Dobbs, let's say he goes to the Bills. That might hurt Keon Coleman, but whatever. Maybe he goes to Seattle. That'd be a good spot for Dobbs, something like that. But I'm just betting that he goes somewhere that gives him a better opportunity. He's very good off the line, so he's a good kind of, poor man's Devontae Adams as far as the red zone's concerned. And then Kyle Williams, second year, third round draft pick, takes a step forward. Jeremy Bernard, just a guy that I really like. Jack Bech becomes that number one wide receiver in Vegas, right? It's on the table. Is it very likely? Not particularly. But again, I'm telling a story here. Three of these guys got to crack my lineup. Colston Loveland, Oronde Gadsden, I think that works at tight end. It's a fun build. I think it's fun. I like it. I think it can actually really work, and I think it could do some damage. All I need is realistically 2 max. I only need 2 of these wide receivers to really kind of hit, and hitting is not that crazy. We're talking I need 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns out of 2 of these guys. And then just dudes that are going to crack my lineup and help out, because my running backs and potentially tight ends are going to be my flex. So I think it's fun. Hartman's in the house. What's up, man? Appreciate you popping over. Let's give the chat a chance, hopefully, to draft. So we're going to jump into, do we want to do a little board or a big board? The first person to put something in the chat, that's what we'll do. Little board or big board. I've already done 2 war rooms, so I'm waiting as long as I possibly can on the war room. So hopefully free agent opens. We'll see. But little board or big board, whoever puts in the chat. Lolsmol says big board. There we go. 20-second clock, obviously. We're in. Waiting on 11. Perfect. All the friends and family. Let's go. Lolsmol says big board. Young Moolah says big board. We're in a big board. And all the friends and family can get in. Let's go. That's what we wanted. Hopefully, can I get a 1-1? Can I get a 1-2-3? 1-2 or 3? Come on. Can I get an influencer top 3 pick over here? Please, one time. Streamer special, top 3 pick. One time. I'd like to use my one time for the day. 6. Hey, that's better than I've been getting. I'll take pick 6 at this point. I'll take pick 6. If you're just popping in or you've been in, hit that like button for me if you don't mind, guys. Hopefully, if you're new to the channel, I've earned the subscription. Ticker down below. We're at 641. We've been growing since we got back into it. Goal is 1,000 before the NFL draft. We get 1,000 subscribers before the NFL draft. 12-hour live stream, just like we did last year. Last year was 500. I think we could do that. We had the whole summer to get whatever we got up to. I don't remember, 6 something or other. 360 subscribers to do a 12-hour live stream. It was pretty fun last year. Let's get it there again, and we'll rip 12 hours. But appreciate you guys popping in, drafting with me, chatting with me. Hopefully you get something out of it. You've been stuck with the late first drafts too. Every draft, bro. Every draft. I'm ecstatic to get a 6 pick right here. Ecstatic. This is first overall basically for me. So yeah. I'm trying to balance my ownership between these guys down here, Amon-Ra, Cook, Genty, Jefferson, Hampton, Love, those types of guys. I've been getting maybe CD Lamb, which is maybe who I'll take right here, though JT was ranked ahead of Lamb for me, and now he's going ahead, which is cool. I'll take some JSN. I'd love a little JSN, but not likely it happens. We'll see. We will see. Yeah, no. So it's either JT or Lamb. You can pull up Amon-Ra, but I like going running back early. Most people do this year. It seems like the best play we can do. Let's see who's in the draft for this. We got King of Kings. We got Frank in here at the 1 spot. He gets the 1. Of course, Frank needs help drafting over here. God, at least he can't snipe me again. I'm too far away to get sniped. We got Young Moolah in the house at the 4 spot, gets Puka. Good draft there. Good pick there. We got Doc 79 in the 8 spot. Takes the landmine of CMC. Let's see how that works out. We'll see about that. He's kind of off my board, if I'm being honest, but I could absolutely be wrong on that. It's fucking CMC. We got Green Bean over here in the 9 spot, takes James Cook. We got Hartman in the 11 spot. Fart Aluza, 82. Sweet name, man. Sweet name. CD Lamb goes 10. That's egregious. That would be a snap click for me. Hartman goes HN. Wow. CD Lamb at 10 is kind of disrespectful. But that's a nice value at 10. I'll tell you that. Why can't I get CD Lamb down there? I'm always down there. Why can't I get CD Lamb at 9 even, Interesting strategy in the 12 spot there. Bully tight end. I sincerely hope you don't take like 6 tight ends and just fuck this draft up. I really hope that doesn't happen, but you never know. It's so hard for me to be off CMC. I get it though. Yeah, that's fair. Like it is hard. He was the guy last year. He was the pick. He was absolutely the pick, right? So let's go Jeremiah Love. I love. Pick 19. Let's take Jeremiah Love. Though Barkley's probably the correct click right here. I think Huhames and Steve were live on the Fanspeak Network earlier today. Go subscribe to that program. And they had Derrick Henry above Jeremiah Love. I don't. I'll say that. But I do. I think Henry's fine. I think he's a great click. He's perfectly fine. But I have Love ahead of Henry personally. Just because he catches the ball out of the backfield and he's just phenomenal. Bully tight end could be what you need this year. Isn't that something everyone says every year about bully tight end? I just don't think that's true. Considering like every year, like late round tight end is the way to go. Or max like 10th round, mid round. Like if you get those rookies, right? Like Loveland. Where was Loveland last year? 10th, 11th, 12th round, something like that, right? Laporta when he was a rookie, right? When Travis Kelce was the first round pick for however many years he was, how many times was Kelce the guy you needed? Right? None is the answer. So I just have a hard time getting behind the bully tight end situation or bully quarterback. Any of that sort of, they just don't work for me. But maybe it is, maybe it is. I just very much doubt it. You really would have to hit on some late round picks. You'd have to hit on the late round running back, late round wide receiver, whatever. You'd have to hit on it, in order to make this viable and work. So, yeah, that's just my thoughts on it. I'm never doing that ever. And you're not either, Hartman, so don't give me that. Don't give me that shit. We're going to go Bucky here. 3 running backs start again. Okay. Do I do the same build that I just did, but change it up a little bit? Maybe. I just can't not go Bucky here. I love this start. Taylor, Love, and Bucky. That is pretty dangerous right there. Pretty dangerous. It's a fun start. Very high on Bucky this year. I'm very high on Bucky this year at this price, where I was not last year at this price. I'm much higher on Bucky this year. Why? No Rachaad White. Hopefully the offensive line improves a little bit. And when Bucky came back, massive workload in win, right? So when he comes back from injury, he's the guy. He's the dude. So, yeah, give me some Bucky. If this guy goes Colson Loveland, that'd be kind of funny. That'd be awesome. Do it. That'd be really helpful. Then goes Josh Allen, just trying to dominate the tight end and quarterback realm. Go Lamar. Yeah, Caleb, that's hilarious. Wow. So this is kind of fun. Like, this is obviously not enough to get thrown out by any means. But it's gonna, yeah, that's kind of sweet, actually. I kind of like it. Not as far as like a valuable strategy or something I would ever do. I like it as he's in my room and I'm gonna get some better players down the way. So we got to keep an eye on Fartalooza 82 over here in the 12 spot. We got to keep an eye on that. Geez, how do I not go Colston Loveland here? Explain to me, like I'm 4 years old, how I don't click Colston Loveland here. In this range, how do I not take Colston Loveland? How do I not? I have to. I just did, and I have to. And also, like, he's potentially more valuable in this room, right? Why? Because the 12 spot. So if I have the tight end 3, let's just say they finish the season like they're ranked, tight end 1, tight end 2, tight end 3. So if I have the tight end 3 and the tight end 1 and 2 are on the same team, I have an advantage over everyone else in the draft. I did McBride Bowers team in a puppy last year. Don't put me in a box. My bad. My apologies. My apologies, bro. My apologies. I was wrong. You are that guy. That's fun. That's fun stuff. Good, clean, wholesome fun over there. Will I take Igbuka? I'd probably rather not. But if he's still there, I guess I could. Another bully type quarterback going on. That's kind of interesting. Two teams with 2 quarterbacks. Man, how do I not take Igbuka? Ugh. I don't really want to. I'm going to gamble on my guy, Mekhi Lemon, that I just want. He's a 5th round pick regardless, so I don't really care that I'm bringing him up. Like, I have Mekhi Lemon ranked ahead of Tate and ahead of Tyson. I do need to start clicking more Tate and Tyson, though, just because I still like them. So I can't just click Lemon every time and be off those other 2. So that's kind of potentially a gap in my portfolio. I'm not sure if Best Ball Overlay is running yet. They had there was a lot of changes in the coding and whatnot for Underdog, so they're a little late in getting some updates out. But I'm gonna check in on that because it's definitely something that I want to know in real time while I'm drafting, which is why you pay for a product like Best Ball Overlay. And as soon as it's back up and running, there is a promo code down in the description for Best Ball Overlay, promo code OTS. But I'm not 100% that it's running quite yet, so I don't want to push it too hard. Wow, and then Igbuka just falls into this doofus's lap. All right. I apologize if Fartalooza 82 is in the chat. I apologize for calling you a doofus, but you're kind of a doofus with what you're doing here. And then takes Drake May. Yeah, you're an absolute doofus. But actually, this is kind of sweet. Like, this is gonna make this draft room like very interesting. We're gonna get some serious values at both wide receiver and running back. But you also have to make sure that you get some viable quarterback options and tight end. But I have Colston Loveland, so I'm good. And I can wait till the end of the draft. I'm not concerned with that. But I have to make sure that I can get, enough quarterback value to make that work. So Jordan Tyson, that really sucks. That would have been a snap click, but he goes a full round basically after ADP. Let's go Parker Washington over Rome because I have Loveland. Though I could just go Rome and Loveland. That's fine. I don't know. Maybe I just think like Sutton's capped here. Again, with the Denver offense, it's just there's ceilings that are baked in. So, yeah. I think that obviously, I think that that's his ceiling. Right? So, and he's another year older. Had an ACL early in his career. Like, I'm not super high on Sutton realistically. Maybe Rome was the proper click there. You could say Harrison, but there's some question marks there. It's definitely not Michael Wilson. I don't particularly want to take another running back. So who is it? It's like Rome or Parker Washington as far as like a ceiling play is concerned. Washington gives me a quarterback out as well. So, yeah. General thoughts on Rome this year. I still really like Rome. Rome was my guy last year. He was my guy, and it was looking like a genius pick for the first, whatever it was, 6, 7, 8 weeks of the season, whatever it was, before he got hurt. And then I think he was playing hurt the entire season, realistically. And then we saw him actually go, I don't know. He didn't go on IR, I don't think, but he missed like 3 games towards the end of the season. And then came back for the playoffs and looked okay in the playoffs, right? So I still think Rome is that guy, but there's obviously some murkiness to it with Colston Loveland and with Luther Burden, though I think DJ Moore's potential that he's not on this team next year. So it's an interesting one. I definitely like Rome. It's just in a much more competitive range. He fell here. So realistically, he should be the click. If I didn't have Loveland, it would have been a snap click for Odunze over Parker Washington. But I like having Loveland here. So Young Moolah goes Herbert. That hurts. That would have been my click. It's probably just going to be T-Law here now. I think I kind of have to. With the guy at the end of the draft, 3 quarterbacks already, he could be live to take. Trevor Lawrence pairs up with Parker Washington. I have to. I can't keep falling behind at quarterback. So let's go T-Law here. Let's go T-Law. So my general thoughts are I still really like him. I still think he can be that number 1 wide receiver on this team. I still think he can be a league winner at this price in the 6th round. It's just a little more murky as far as the Burden Loveland situation. And then again, DJ Moore is still on this team, but will he be come September? I don't know. I don't know. So I'll still be clicking them. I still like them. I won't be at like whatever I was, 25 to 30%. I was in that range last year, and I think that was fine. I actually I'm happy with being at that, exposure to Rome last year because I think I was right. I just think he got hurt, and it is what it is. Happens. So I still think he's that guy. That's my kind of long-winded general thoughts on Rome Odunze. Still really, really like him. I like the Pearsall Purdy. I like doing that. Pearsall was definitely on the board for me here, but I just can't keep pushing quarterback. No way, no how. So, because then it kind of falls off a cliff a little bit. Yeah, Stafford gets pulled up. That's fine. I can understand why. Who I'm going to go. I am going to go with Alec Pierce here. I think he's still untapped with what he did last year. I think there's still some untapped potential for sure. I just don't know where he goes. He could be back with the Colts. I think the Colts have to decide between Michael Pittman Jr. and Alec Pierce. They have to make that decision. If not, then where does Alec Pierce go? I don't know. There's lots of places he can fit and be a plus, right? Again, the Seahawks, they're definitely going to be looking for a number 2 wide receiver. Cooper Kupp is a free agent. Rashid Shaheed's a free agent. So whether, that's Torrey Horton, which it might be, or they bring back Shaheed, which they probably do, I still think that there's room for a guy like Alec Pierce if they wanted to. But we'll see how that works out. I really like Alec Pierce. I think there's a lot of untapped potential with him. I think he gets a contract similar to what T. Higgins got last year. Honestly, give me Alec Pierce over T. Higgins. And I got him at a nice discount. So there you go. What was I saying about this guy at the end giving discounts? Tyson, a full round of ADP value. Pierce, a full round of ADP value. That's good to see. You like to see it. Obviously, I say that knowing that T. Higgins has Joe Burrow throwing him the ball. So who's throwing Alec Pierce the ball? Has to be someone pretty responsible, So we'll see how that kind of goes and works out. But I love bully tight end. Had some good builds last season. Fair enough. It's not for me. It is definitely not something I like to do whatsoever, is a bully tight end build. It's not something I like to do. It is not something that's in my repertoire. There's another huge value, Pitts. I think he's absolutely clickable at pick 100. We're going to go Denzel Boston. He was in play even when I picked Alec Pierce here. So let's go Denzel Boston. That's just an insta-click for me. I got to find another quarterback somewhere. Yeah, and this is really why I did pick Parker Washington. I saw something earlier today that I went through my bookmarks, which I like to do every once in a while, my bookmarks on Twitter. So I said this years, not years ago, but last year at some point, when I see takes that I either really hate or really love, I bookmark it on Twitter. The ones that I hate is so I know who to not listen to, who's an idiot, who I don't like, that sort of thing. And the ones that I love, obviously, are, so I can remember it and continue to use that information. So one that I saw in my bookmarks was the slot receiver for Liam Cohen. Whatever year it was when he was the OC at Kentucky, it was Wan'Dale Robinson, who was fantastic. And then it was Cooper Kupp. And then it was Godwin, who was off to that crazy start before he got hurt, I believe, right? The slot receiver for the Jags for the Liam Cohen offense is an enviable position to be in. And the picture in that tweet had Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas. And I was pretty correct in thinking Parker Washington was going to be that guy. The same time last year in the big board last year, Parker Washington was my highest drafted player, period. My number 1 drafted player last year was Parker Washington in the big board. So I think that still remains true, is the slot receiver for Liam Cohen offense. Obviously, the Jacksonville Jaguars is a very healthy position to be in. And who is that? I think Parker Washington has cemented himself as that guy. So there you go. I would have taken Goff there. I would have taken Goff. I don't know if I want to be bringing up Tyler Shuck here, to be honest with you. I'm going to go with Jawan Jennings. Do I want to go Jennings over Wan'Dale? I kind of do. Let's go Jennings here. It'd be Jennings or Wan'Dale. Coker's in play too, I suppose, but it's not the way I want to go. I've afforded myself some time for tight ends. I don't need to take a tight end anytime soon. I can wait till the end of the draft and take a couple guys. Probably still going with 6 running backs, but I can continue to still wait. Though if Jonah Coleman's there, I might have to click his name. Shuck goes. I don't want to keep falling behind at quarterback, so Darnold could be in play, considering I have rookie Mekhi Lemon, who will definitely be gone before the Seahawks pick. Denzel Boston possibly could be on the board in the Seahawks pick. Juwan Jennings could go to Seattle. You never know. Alec Pierce could go to Seattle. So Darnold could be in play. Sweet Leaf 22 takes him. That sucks. Man. Strange for the double stack, though I don't particularly want to do that. Ay, ay, ay. Do I want to take Mendoza here? Not really. I really don't. I'm going to take Emmett Johnson. You could say like take the value with Shakir, but I'm not doing that. Jonah Coleman, but I have Emmett Johnson ahead of Jonah Coleman fairly comfortably. So give me Emmett Johnson here. I could stop at five. Sorry. I could stop at 5 running backs and be relatively comfortable with it. And then I could throw a little bit of volume, maybe 4 quarterbacks here, which might be what it takes. I'm really happy I have Trevor Lawrence here now. Like, who's falling behind? This guy only has Hurts. That kind of sucks for him. This guy's only got Dart. King of Kings, only with Dart. It's tough, man. That's how she goes. That's how she goes. When this guy's taken 3 early, it kind of thins it out. This guy's only got Mahomes. That's not amazing. Green Bean's only got Burrow, but that's fine. Love and Stafford for Doc 79. Might be a third on the way there. He's got Kyron and Devontae, so that makes sense for pulling up Stafford there. Plus with this guy down here, you never know. Mind you, he would have taken him at this pick 104 regardless, Stafford, if he's still there. Yeah, I'm definitely falling behind a quarterback. It doesn't feel great, but I'd rather get these values. And I think Emmett Johnson's a value at that pick right there. I think he'll continue to rise. Yeah. This is a tough room. It's a weird one. Which 4 RBs do you think if you get an ADP, you'll be fine? Whew. I mean, you'd have to go early in a 20-round draft. You'd have to go really early. I mean, I took these 3, and then let's say I'm going to pick first, and we'll finish this up. Do I just take Strange? Probably. Okay, he's gone. That's kind of good. Do I take CJ Stroud or Cam Ward? I am going to take a quarterback here. I'm going to take Cam Ward just because there's potentially more potential there than Stroud. Stroud's kind of shown who he is, right? He's really got to take a step forward for me to believe him. But Cam Ward could be, I mean, look at these last 2 seasons for Stroud. You telling me Cam Ward can't do that or better? I think we all think he can. So there you go. Let's get Cam Ward. That opens the door to still potentially stopping at 3. Which 4 at ADP? These 3 I'm fine with. I think you have to go 3 straight to start the draft in order to stop at 4. And then you're kind of like, I think it's aggressive. I mean, with Emmett Johnson, I think that opens me up for taking 5. I think I can stop at 5 potentially. If it's maybe like Algier Dowdle, that's a hard maybe. Jalen Warren would be, I think I'd be fine with that. Obviously, any of these guys like Judkins, Harvey, Javonte, Swift, any of these guys up here, yeah, you can stop at 4, and I think you're okay with that. But as far as like getting some other value, like it's not crazy if I stopped at 4 here with what I have. That's possible. Do I want to do that in a 20-round draft? I mean, if this was a Best Ball Mania team, I would stop at 4 probably. Yeah, but with 2 extra picks in a 20-round draft, I'm probably still going to take a 5th. So hopefully that kind of answers it. For me, definitely Vidal is 1 of 4. Wow. I'm not that high on Kamani Vidal personally. I am not that high on Vidal. I'm going to bring in Sadiq. It should be Mark Andrews over Sadiq. Don't get me wrong. but with a full round of ADP value with where he's been going. And I did just watch Sadiq, and I really liked what I saw. I really, really liked what I saw out of Kenyon Sadiq. So let's bring him in there. That's a fun room with Loveland. Get another rookie, young guy. Not another. Loveland's obviously in his second season, but another young guy. And then I can take some sort of vet later if I need to or want to. This is a fun team. I like it. I'm happy with this build. Cowboys in the house. What's up, man? You guys done the tower? The tower wrapped up for the night? I'd imagine you are. Hope you guys had a good show. Appreciate you popping in. I might go with 4 quarterbacks on this build. So if I can stop at 5 running backs, that could work for me. That's possible. It's the night of interesting different builds. 2-5-11-2 in the first draft, which is a little wild. And now we might be a 4-5 8-3, 4-5-8-3. Yeah, 4-5-8-3 is what we might be. We'll see. What are we gonna do here? I think the only thing to do that makes sense is to pull up Chimera DK and pair him up with Cam Ward. I think that's the only thing that makes sense here, realistically. Let's do that. Let's do that. 2-4-6-2. I think I'm going to take 2 more quarterbacks. We'll see. There's something I was thinking about yesterday or earlier today about quarterbacks and what I kind of want to do. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to take this player because I think it only works in certain builds. And this is the type of build that it absolutely makes sense to do. So let's do that. And I'll tell you, there's too many people in the chat that might like this player as well. And you never know. So we'll see. We will see. There goes Vidal, who off night goes 6 straight running backs. I don't mind this running back room when you haven't drafted, 0 RB, going heavy 0 RB over here. Let's get prepared for the pick here. Interesting spot to be in here. I'm definitely going to stop at 5 running backs. I like Emmett Johnson enough, and obviously my first 3 picks. So let's leave that alone. I'm doing 1 more running back, 1 more tight end. Those are the 100%. Those are the 100% things that are going to happen. And then we'll kind of take it from there. I'm going to take JJ McCarthy here. I'm going to pull him up a little bit. It's basically at ADP, and ADP is fake right now. It doesn't matter. But there's no one else I really feel like I need to be clicking here, not even close. So let's go JJ McCarthy. I am still going to take a 4th quarterback. Brissett goes. I am going to take a 4th quarterback here. Two more wide receivers, probably. almost certainly, and then one more tight end, which I can take almost anybody I want at tight end. So I'm not too worried about that. Of course, Fartalooza would go Joe Mixon. Not that I was going to pick him because there's a 0% chance I'm ever clicking Joe Mixon. But this is a wild-ass running back room. Another kind of gritty-ass build over here. At least it makes sense, sort of, the build. Sure. Sure, why not? Why not? 3 running backs through 15 rounds. That's interesting. It's a really nice tight end room. Go Samson. I could stop at 3 quarterbacks here, I guess. I really could. But we'll see when we get there. It kind of depends on who I can get at this next pick at 187 here. It'll depend on that. Whether I take just the 3 or I add a 4th quarterback. Adonai Mitchell just falling. Wow, he goes there. That makes sense. I'm going to go Nick Singleton here. I like Nick Singleton a lot. Obviously, he has that injury, but he will be back at some point. Let's do that. Then I'm going to stop at 5 running backs. I'm probably still taking the 4th quarterback. We got a lot of teams to go over too after this. So again, we got King of Kings in the 1 spot. We got Young Moolah at the 4. We got Doc 79 at the 8. We got Green Bean at the 9. And we got Hartman at the 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams to go over here. Half the draft. Friends and family. That's a good one. I'm glad we got the draft because we didn't at all in the first one. So that McCarthy snipe might have been a kill shot. What did I do to you? I'm sorry, man. Jefferson. Did you have you didn't have Hawkinson though? Did you have Addison? Oh, it's just Jefferson. You got Burrow, man. What are you worried about? Burrow, Willis, Sanders sucks, but you got Burrow and Willis. Burrow is really all that matters. Burrow over Lawrence every day of the week, right? Ward and Willis could be same. McCarthy over Sanders, yeah, but sorry about that, man. Sorry about that. Quarterbacks, I told you, man, as soon as this guy goes 3 quarterbacks through 6 rounds and this guy takes 2 through 5, right? Like it's going to get tight at quarterback, and it obviously did. So, and you took Malik Willis on me. I wanted to take him at this pick, but I guess it made sense. It was basically between Sadiq and Willis, but I took the little bit of value on Sadiq. So JJ McCarthy snipe is a gift in disguise, Green Bean. That's what I would have said last year and might still be true. So what are we doing now? What do I got here? We're going quarterback at some point, wide receiver, and tight end is what we're doing. I think it makes a lot of sense to probably take Gunnar Helm here, or I could take Alec Iomanor. But let's go Helm. I think that makes more sense. Double stack Tennessee. I don't really want to do that, but that's fine. Let's take Helm. When it's the 17th round, I don't mind double stacking. Yeah, let's do that. It's kind of fun. So wide receivers. There's a couple guys down here that we can take and be happy about it. This is a pretty light room. I might have to throw another and just say I'm okay with this quarterback room. Oy, oy, oy. I might have to do that. This is a pretty thin wide receiver room right here. I might have to throw a 9th wide receiver. Yeah, I think I got to do that. It was Mac Jones that I'm thinking about. I'm going to get some Mac Jones in my life. I kind of have to. He is a starting quarterback in the NFL. Will he be next year? I don't know. He should be, but is someone going to pay up to trade for him? The 49ers are not incentivized to trade Mac Jones at all. But it's still wild things happen all the time in the NFL. So, but I have to throw, and there there goes Mac Jones. I have to throw a 9th wide receiver at this room. I have to. Is that your 3rd? Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. He's only got 2. I would have added him as my 4th, where I think it makes sense as your 4th. Or if you drafted like in the last draft where I had Herbert and Caleb, let's say in the last round I bring in Mac Jones. That can make some sense. I'm glad Branch went there. It's typically Bernard, but I'm going to go Cooper on this one. I like Omar Cooper. I'm going to bring him in. And yeah, I'm gonna throw 9 wide receivers at this room. I feel like I have to. So let's do that. Let's do that. I wasn't gonna get him anyways. All right, there you go. There you go. Doc had him queued up, ready to go regardless. That's fair. That's fair. It makes sense with what you're doing with your build. Makes sense. You kind of got boxed out. Everybody got boxed out of quarterback. So, I mean, even if he stays on San Francisco, right? You still got McCaffrey. Ayuk's gone, but Kittle and McCaffrey, yeah, it makes sense. That makes sense. So, and then if he gets traded and he starts somewhere, then that's still absolutely fine. So there you go. Yeah. Makes sense, that click. There you go. There you go. Yep. And if he gets traded and starts, then you're laughing anyways. So win-win. It's a win-win situation. Oh man, King of Kings goes 4. We're gonna have to go through that team. That makes sense to go with 4. I would definitely do that as well with that build. I think I just barely avoided doing it. Cam Ward and McCarthy with having Trevor Lawrence, like that really kind of bails me out. Like, yeah, taking Cam Ward here and then Stroud and Murray go, like he probably would have taken one of them, I'm sure, if they were there. I still probably would have brought up Malik Willis if it was me instead of like Shaheed or Gainwell, either one. But yeah, it is what it is. And then for me, it's McCarthy over Penix personally. Just with that injury, like his 17th torn ACL or whatever it is for old ass Michael Penix. Jeremy Bernard, no question. He's still there. You betcha. 19th round every single time. I'll take Jeremy Bernard. I'm surprised he's still there with this room, but I'll take him. I'll fall on the Jeremy Bernard sword. It's wild that I have 3 rookies in my running back room in what we all perceive as being a weak running back draft, and I do as well, and I'm stopping at 5. That's interesting. That is interesting. A lot of rookies on this team. A lot of rookies. 3, 6, 8. Weak class in general, I think, and I have 6 rookies. Or sorry, 8 rookies. Jeez, 8 rookies. Interesting team, interesting build. I would prefer to not take another rookie down here, but it's not a lot of values. So, yeah, we will see. I'm not taking Mooney. I'm not taking Cup. I'm not taking Bateman. Malik Washington, I guess you could talk me into that, I suppose. Isaiah Bond's kind of a fun click. I've clicked him once or twice. I don't mind that one. From Green being there. I had Darius Slayton because he's going to be on this team and he's going to be out there running routes, even if they, draft a wide receiver early, which I don't think they do, but even if they did. But now with Matt Nagy there, I'm not doing that. So it's going to be Jalen Noel. I didn't want to, that's the only guy here that, Besh, yeah, but I just took him last draft. So give me some Jalen Noel. I like that. I wanted at least just not a rookie, realistically, is what I wanted. He should take over for Christian Kirk, who's going to be out of town almost certainly. So yeah, give me that Noel. Let's go over these squads here. We'll start with mine while this finishes, and then we'll go through the other 5 teams. 3-5-9-3. Trevor Lawrence, Cam Ward, and JJ McCarthy. That's barely passable. I think it could be okay. I don't love it, but this is a big reason why I don't like to fall behind at quarterback. Big reason. This example right here, because that's just, unless Trevor Lawrence is a top 5 quarterback, unless he just is that, this is going to be a tough spot. If he is, then I could be all right, So it's borderline. It's mediocre as all mediocre gets. Jonathan Taylor, Jeremiah Love, Bucky Irving, Emmett Johnson, and Nick Singleton. I actually really like this. I think that can absolutely work. I really like this room. It affords me some time for Singleton to get back with these 3 running backs. Definitely flex options for sure. So both running back and flex, you get it, I hope. And Emmett Johnson, I like a lot. So that's good. Mekhi Lemon, Parker Washington pairs up. Alec Pierce, Denzel Boston, Jennings. Again, one of my first 5 wide receivers, one of them plays for the team that he's going to play on, Parker Washington. Other than that, free agents and rookies. So that's interesting. Shamir DK, Omar Cooper, Jeremy Bernard, and Jalen Noel. And I think that's fine. I think I had to add the 9th. I think I had to go 9 wide receivers. I really think I had to, but I like this group. I think that can definitely get the job done. I think that can definitely work. Nice value on Pierce. He could go somewhere fun. Jennings can go somewhere fun. Even if he stays in San Francisco, that's still absolutely fine. Yeah, I dig it. Colson Lovin, Kenyon Sadiq, and Gunnar Helm. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. I'm happy with that. Yeah, this is a fun team. I think this team could definitely advance. My quarterback room is probably the softest part of this whole roster, but if Trevor Lawrence is a top 5 quarterback, which he could be, then I think this team is dangerous. Obviously, I need Parker Washington to continue to be what he was last year, Lemon to be the guy that I think he is, and then Pierce to go somewhere fun, and then we're in good shape. I like this team. This is a fun one. That's a fun team. Let's do Frank first in the 1-1. 4-5-9-2. Interesting build. Definitely different, but we had to. This is an oddball room. Jackson Dart, Michael Penix, Aaron Rodgers, and Ty Simpson. That obviously is not ideal, and I'm not breaking any. I know he agrees. It's a tough room. Michael Penix, old as dirt, coming off a bunch of ACLs. It's I like Cousins over Penix this year. We'll see about that. Aaron Rodgers may or may not come back. I think it's looking more and more likely and possible that he comes back to Pittsburgh with McCarthy, but definitely not a given. He looks old. He is old. And then Ty Simpson just shouldn't play in the NFL this year. So will he? Maybe. He's the QB2 probably. And he might get thrown in there, but I don't think he's by any way, shape, or form ready to start in the NFL. So it's Jackson Dart or bust, realistically. And then if Aaron Rodgers comes back, that'll help. And that's, we'll see. We'll see. But I know Frank doesn't love that, I'm sure. Bijan Robinson, Chase Brown, Ramondre Stevenson, Kenny Gainwell, and Damon Claiborne. I don't like Claiborne personally, but that doesn't make me right. And I think that can work just fine. Gainwell has to come back to Pittsburgh, and Rodgers has to come back to Pittsburgh as well, not retire. And I think that can be fun for sure. So prudent drafting there. Pickens at 24, more reasonable than where I've been seeing him go, but I don't know. The whole talk we had pre-show is, yeah. Terry McLaurin, Waddle, I love that pick. Pittman, Godwin, Concepcion, Rashid Shaheed, Trey Tucker, Malik Washington. This is a fine room. I think it can definitely get the job done. Yeah, I think that's a fine room. Yeah, for sure. Laporta and Theo Johnson, little thin, definitely a little thin. I would have added a third, but where do you? I mean, I just don't think Ty Simpson's going to be able to contribute to this team. But I mean, I get it. That's a tough one. How do you add a third? Where do you take it from? You really don't. And if you're going to be light at a position, tight end's the place to do it. So I can't really blame you. If Laporta just has a bounce back and Theo Johnson continues his upward trajectory, you're okay. So I think you did what you had to do. I think it's kind of, I think that's what you would say, the thesis of your team you drafted. I did what I had to do. So it is what it is. Let's go Young Moolah, 3683, the classic, the most common build by far, mine as well. So that's what it is. Justin Herbert, Bryce Young, and Kyler Murray. That's fine. I love me some Justin Herbert for sure. I don't like Kyler Murray, but he might get a chance to start somewhere again. We'll see. Maybe it's wherever Cliff Kingsbury goes. We'll see. But I don't know if that option exists anymore with the Jets being, with Frank Reich now. But either way, Bryce Young is a fine backup. Herbert's the man. And then Kyler is a wild card and fine. So that'll work. Derrick Henry, Quinshon Judkins, Kyle Monangai, Trey Benson, Sean Tucker, and Jordan James. I really like the Jordan James click. I click him a little bit. I'm trying to get some Jordan James. Sean Tucker is a restricted free agent, probably back, moves into the Rachaad White role, goal line back a little bit. Maybe not Rachaad White, like Bucky's going to be the pass catcher, but goal line work. I don't mind the click there. Benson needs to stay healthy. This is his third year. He hasn't been able to stay healthy yet. So I'm concerned about Trey Benson. I liked him as a rookie. I liked him last year. He burned me both times. So I'm having a hard time clicking Benson this year. I like Monangai. I think he's fine. Got a little value there. Quinshon, I don't like at this price personally, but I can understand why people are clicking him. And Henry's Henry, so I like that. Puka, love it. Tet, Zay Flowers, Marvin Harrison, Coker, Trey Harris, Kyle Williams, and KLS. I like that. I don't know if Lambert Smith is really necessary, but I understand double stacked with Herbert. I get that. He was your last pick, so that's completely fine as well. But I like this room for sure. This is a very quality wide receiver room. Kyle Pitts and Joku and Freiermuth, I like that a lot. Yeah, I like that a lot. That works for me. I think that's perfectly fine. Good value on Pitts. So really there's no real weakness on this team. Yeah, there's no real glaring weakness there. So quality squad. We got Doc 79. Let's check the chat quick here. Yeah, 1 sec on the last comment. Do any of the Browns wide receivers around 20 interest you at all? Mainly Tillman or Bond? Bond does. Yeah, I think I mentioned that. Probably didn't see your comment, but Isaiah Bond definitely does. I'm pretty out on Tillman. I wouldn't be clicking Tillman personally, but I think Isaiah Bond can be that spike week kind of guy that can crack your lineup with one play. So I've clicked him a couple times, Bond, and I will continue to add up to 5-6% sort of thing. So yeah, Bond. I'm not really on Kyler to remain the starter in Arizona. No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't. It'll cost them a crazy amount of money to move on from him. So it's definitely not cut and dry that he's not going to be there. So I wouldn't rule him out either. So that's perfectly fine. Yes, I will check this team. The realist 6969. Give me I'll find you and I'll definitely go over that squad. Give me 2 secs here. So we got Doc 79, 3593. Exactly what I did. I don't mind that. We got Stafford, Love, and Jones. I like that. We went over the Jones selection, why it made sense already. So I'm fine with that. Jordan Love, quality. Stafford talks about him retiring. I don't see it, man. I think he's coming back. I think Stafford's coming back. I think they can put together a Super Bowl caliber roster again. Obviously, they were right there, one play away essentially, and I think they can be there again. and be a better team, even realistically. You know, they got a full off season and another draft to improve the team. So I think Stafford's coming back, and everyone's obviously drafting him like he is. I don't think I think he's back. But there is some lingering thoughts of him retiring, though. Again, I wouldn't draft him or not draft him thinking he's retiring. So long-winded answer there. CMC, Hampton, Kyron Williams, Swift, and Isaiah Davis. I like that. Like, obviously, you waited a while to draft your last running back, which is perfectly fine because you spent the capital up here. So you could have stopped at 4 potentially. This is a possible. You know, we had that conversation earlier in the show. This could be a 4 RB build, but I don't mind adding a guy you like. You know, if Breece Hall is gone, Isaiah Davis he had a role last year. He's going to have a role this year, regardless of if Breece Hall is back or not. Obviously, we like Braylon Allen, but he couldn't stay healthy last year. I like that click, so this works for sure. Devontae Adams, Mike Evans, Jaden Reed, Deebo Samuel, Jalen McMillan, Brandon Ayuk, Surratt, Ayumanor, and Flournoy. There's a lot of question marks here. A lot of question marks in this wide receiver room that wouldn't make me feel too warm and fuzzy, personally. Devontae Adams is getting a little bit older. His hamstrings didn't hold up last year. Maybe they do, maybe they don't next season. But he's paired with Stafford, so I get that. Mike Evans, hamstrings, again, that's usually the issue with guys' age, right? Their hamstrings just fall apart. They get too old, man. I couldn't run right now. I'm 40 years old. I'd fucking rip my hamstring off the bone for sure. But it's just how she goes. So Devontae Adams is struggling with that. Mike Evans is struggling with that. And he's not on this team. Technically, he's a free agent, so we'll kind of see about that. Jaden Reed hasn't particularly been able to stay healthy, hasn't been on the field a crazy amount, the Green Bay, right? But again, he pairs up with Jordan Love. I get it. But it's still a question mark. Deebo Samuel, aging, again, free agent, again, right? Like, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. Jalen McMillions came off the neck injury, which is always a massive, massive concern. Backs and necks are always a massive concern. It's worse for running backs. It's almost a kill shot for running backs, but even for wide receivers, it hurts. He did come back and played really well. I like McMillan. Don't get me wrong. I really like McMillan. I'm drafting him, but there's a question mark there. Less of a question mark for McMillan than any of these other guys so far, in my opinion, though. Brandon Ayuk, I don't know if we need to go over it. 20 picks past ADP, sure. He'll land somewhere, but definitely some question marks there. And then Surratt, Ayumanor, Flournoy, there's not exactly question marks, but nice value of Surratt. I like that. Ayumanor's fine, and Flournoy's fine. So it's an interesting room. Yeah. Tucker Kraft, Kittle, and Ferguson. This works. 2 guys off injuries, though. Again, some question marks with the tight ends, but Ferguson, I like the upside there. Again, stacks, Tucker Kraft stacks, so that's okay. A lot of question marks on this team. Even Christian McCaffrey, right? A lot of question marks. Stafford, a lot of question marks. A lot of risk by Doc. But that's all right. I'm not upset about that. Let's go the realist here, 69, who just asked. We'll go over it, and then Green Bean will be next. I know my running backs are weak. It was a weird draft between. Had to reach for QBs. Yeah, I hear you. We'll check it out. Took a bunch of olds. Was kind of just looking for TDs at wide receiver. Definitely a ton of question marks. Yeah, I don't think I was breaking any news to you, but it's an interesting one to take those olds. Devontae, touchdown guy. Mike Evans, touchdown guy. I get it. So we had 3683, again, super common. That's fine. Dak, Goff, and Brissett. That can work. Brissett, I think, will find a way to start somewhere realistically. Like, again, the Jets. Someone was talking about it on Twitter today that makes a lot of sense. Frank Reich, Brissett started for Frank Reich previously in his career. I think that can work. If Kyler starts in Arizona, Brissett to the Jets makes some sense. So that's very possible. Either way, Dak and Goff are fine, and Brissett can probably add to it. Kenny Walker, Javonte Williams, Rico Dowdle, Charbonnet, Emmanuel Wilson, and Rodriguez. A little bit soft. I wouldn't say it's exceptionally weak. I like Dowdle. I love Charbonnet, but again, the late ACL. That makes it tough. I'm not drafting Charbonnet, even though I love him. If he didn't tear his ACL, I mean, his price tag would be exceptionally different than it is right now. But I would have been drafting a lot of Zach Charbonnet regardless. He would have been like a second round pick for me, honestly. If he maybe third. Maybe third. He would have been a third round pick for me for sure if he didn't tear his ACL. Maybe second. But here we are. I have a tough time clicking Charbonnet, if I'm being honest. I like Dowdle. I like Javonte. Probably goes back to the Cowboys where Pickens may not. And then Kenny Walker's fine. He could go back to the Seahawks and that would be fine, or free agent somewhere else. Emmanuel Wilson, decent handcuff. People are, again, this is overacting the last year. Yeah, he's good. Yeah, he can do the role, but the Packers could absolutely just draft somebody that is better than Emmanuel Wilson. You know, they drafted Marshawn Lloyd, who's obviously not working out, and then they could just draft someone else that, you know, will be the heir apparent to Josh Jacobs sort of thing. So I don't hate the click. It's just, I think there's some question marks there that, you know, I don't know if it's worth taking a guy like Wilson. So I don't know. Chris Rodriguez, same thing. Same kind of a thing. I'm just not particularly clicking Rodriguez. I think they could sign a guy. They could draft a guy. They could do both in Washington. New offensive coordinator comes in. You know, maybe Chris Rodriguez can be the David Montgomery type of situation when we're talking about like the Detroit parallels. But I don't know. It's a fine room, I suppose. But you're right. There's some weakness there. There's definitely some weakness and some question marks there. Amon-Ra, Drake London, Jameson Williams, double stacked on Detroit. Jordan Tyson, nice value there. Snipe me on him. That's fine. Nice value on Shakir. I mean, even Shakir, like I'll take him at 127. I'm not drafting Tyreek personally, but that doesn't mean I'm right. Adonai Mitchell, some serious value, just value hounding here in the wide receiver room. So I can't blame you. I like this room as a whole. These top five for sure. Tyreek, it's a tough one. Adonai Mitchell, where you got him, is fine, and Branch is fine there too. So I don't mind this room. That works. You're awfully reliant on the Detroit Lions, but that's fine. That's perfectly fine. Harold Fannin, Strange, and Colby Parkinson, some more value. I mean, I'll take Harold Fannin at 90. Strange was a great click there. I probably would have had to take him if you didn't again. So this is a good tight end room. I like this room, and you got some real good value everywhere. That's really fun. That's really fun to get that value. I think I would have taken Goff too. You sniped me a few times, man. What's that all about? Overall, it's fine. You're right though. The running back room's a little snug, and then the wide receiver room just heavily relies on the Detroit Lions, which is fine because Shakir's okay. These guys could all be less than ideal as far as wide receivers. But Drake London's solid. Tyson should be solid. And the value that you got everywhere is fun. So there you go. Lolsimo likes it. So there you go. Let's go to Green Bean down here. 3782, a little bit different build. We got Burrow, Malik Willis, and Shadur Sanders. That can work. Obviously relies on Burrow heavily, but my team relies on T-Law heavily. That's how it goes. We talked about it a lot. James Cook, Henderson, Bashal Tootin, Corum, Brooks, Bigsby, and Mike Washington Jr. I like this a lot. I like it a lot. That's a fun running back room. I know I've talked about it too with Henderson's price, but with this, I like the room. That's a solid running back room. Jefferson, Higgins, Carnell Tate, Higgins, Pat Bryant, Jacoby Lane, Brazel, and Isaiah Bond. That's fun. I like the top three for sure. I have way more question marks than other people do on Jacoby Lane. I think Pat Bryant is extremely capped with what his ceiling is. Anyone on Denver is. Jaden Higgins, I think he's fine. He's a fine click. He could take a step forward, but obviously the CJ Stroud effect is kind of interesting. Bond, I like to potentially crack your lineup with one play. Brazel, similar. But the top three are really good, and the rest can kind of, piece it together. especially when your flex is covered by a running back in a lot of situations and scenarios. Gadsden and Ferguson, that can work. That's okay to stop at 2. I like the team. Yeah. Definitely a little different build, 3-7-8-2, but yeah, all around it's quality. It is quality. We got Hartman last but not least. We've got 3-7-7-3. Brock Purdy, Baker Mayfield, and Fernando Mendoza. That's fine. I like it. That works. Pulled up Purdy to pair him with Pearsall, we talked about earlier. Achan, Algier, Jonah Coleman, Katron Allen, Braylon Allen, Brian Robinson, and Adam Randall. I like this a lot. I would not have gone Adam Randall here. Probably not. I would have gone someone other than Brian Robinson. I just think he's kind of dead, if I'm being honest. We'll see where he goes, but I think we know what we're getting, and he's a backup handcuff at best, maybe not even that. But I really like this top 5 a lot. That's really nice. I think that can cover you. So it doesn't really matter who these 2 guys are. I just think Adam Randall is like a developmental type of a guy, former wide receiver, big body, and then Brian Robinson, similar, just not a former wide receiver. But that's fine. With the top 5, I'm okay with those 2 guys. Neighbors, Wilson, McConkey, Brian Thomas, Watson, Pearsall, Bell. Bell is going to be a playoff type guy, late guy. He had a torn ACL November 25th or something like that. So I'm not picking Chris Bell personally, but I can understand in the 20th round if you want to take some Chris Bell, though I would probably do it in at least 8 wide receiver build, if not 9. So I would have, instead of Randall Randall or Robinson, I would have added another wide receiver personally, but I get it. That's fine. I like this. Like the top 4, 5, 6, the top 6 are really nice. So yeah, can't blame you. Barner, Hawkinson, and Mason Taylor. Yeah, that'll work. Waited to the end to draft tight ends. That's fine. That's fine. Like we talked about, when the bully tight end situation was happening, I might have went with Eli Stowers over Mason Taylor, but whatever. It's pretty whatever. Just the upside of Stowers over Mason Taylor is kind of what would have drawn me there, but that's fine. That is fine. The Realist, appreciate you. I like the channel. I appreciate it, man. I'm new to the family. Appreciate you popping in, man. Thanks for coming in, hitting that subscribe button. For everyone in the chat, hit that like button for me on your way out. If you're popping in new, hit the subscribe button if you like what you hear. Appreciate everybody in the chat tonight. It was a good show, good drafts. We ripped 2, which is what we wanted to do. Talked about some George Pickens stuff, so go watch it back if you're catching it after the fact. We'll be back on Friday night. We'll be drafting again Friday, talking about some stuff. I don't know, I'll come up with something, and then we'll rip some drafts. But like we always say on Off the Schneid, if you're afraid to be wrong, you'll never be right. Hopefully tonight we're right. We win the big board. Have yourselves a great night. We'll talk soon.